A very good day to you. This is Change Radio News. Today is Friday, the 29th of August, 2025. The news read by Olive Ruzizo. The headlines: Woman kills granddaughter for rituals. Two Harare City Councils workers die on duty. And Zimbabwe youth unemployment hits 1.4 million as United Nations calls for urgent action. And now for the news in detail. As ritual killings are on the rise in the country, police in Shurugwi have arrested a 52-year-old woman for the alleged ritual murder of her 4-year-old granddaughter. The suspect, Veronica Mudzipuri, is accused of poisoning the child with a pesticide and then cutting flesh from the girl's cheek. Authorities say she mixed the flesh with herbs from a traditional healer, cooked it, and consumed it. The Zimbabwe Republic Police confirmed the arrest, calling it a premeditated killing for ritual purposes. Ritual killings are premeditated murders carried out in the belief that human body parts hold supernatural powers. Yesterday, two Harare City Council workers died on duty at Fell sewage treatment works in Glenview. The cause of death is still unknown, but some suspect inhalation of toxic biogas. Critics have questioned the safety measures in place and whether the workers had proper protective gear. Change Radio spoke to Combined Harare Residents Association CHRA Director, Mr. Ruben Akili, who had this to say.
Yeah, we as CRA, we are saddened by the development which saw Two Harare City Council workers dying on duty at Fail sewerage treatment works in Glenview. It is worrying, and we send condolences to the family who have lost their breadwinners within their families. As CRA, we call upon the local authority to then conduct serious investigations, serious objective investigations that then establish the cause of the death of these workers. And after that, then they can also be able to act decisively on the matter. Again, we implore the National Social Security Authority, NASA, to also do also the independent investigations again on the same issue, so that we can be able to have a balanced report over this issue. The issue of safety of workers is very, very key, especially in areas where risks and hazards are always available. So again, as we said before, it's too early to point fingers, but I think what is very, very important is then the two reports, the two investigative reports, both from City of Harare and NASA, can also be able to then help us also give an objective comment around this matter. But again, we are saddened by this development which have happened. Thank you.
CHRA Ward 32 representative Joylene Nyachuru also extended her condolences to the bereaved families, relatives, colleagues, and friends of the deceased. Let's hear her speak.
Zita ndinonzi Joylene Nyachuru, ndakamirira wadhi 32 CRA. Tine urombo zvikuru kumhuri dzakarasikirwa nevadikani vadzo nezuro vari vashandi vekanzuro vakafira vari pabasa. Chinhu chinorwadza. Isu seCRA tiri kushushikana zvikuru nekuti vashandi vekanzuro vari kukwarira pabasa vachishanda vari kuramba vachiwanda nguva nenguva. Chinhu chatakagara tichitaura savagari kuti vashandi vekanzuro ngavange vachipiwa zvikwanisiro zvekunge vachiitisa mabasa avo. Apa chiri kutirwadza kunzi varume ava vakashayika nezuro vari kufungidzwa kuti vakafema hutsi hwakavakachidza hunova gasi. Zviri kufungidzirwa kuti vakafema gasi rakavakachidza zvichireva kuti vakanga vasina zvikwanisiro zvekuvachengetedza kubva kuhutsi uhwu. Saka isusu sevagari tiri kushushikana zvikuru kuti sei guta reHarare risinganyanyo kukoshesa utano hwevashandi varo uyezve nemashandiro anoita vashandi vavo. Takagara tichinyunyuta nenyaya iyi kuti vashandi vekanzuro kunyanya vanoshanda kumasiwa dzimweni dzenguva tinovaona vachigadzira masiwa vakapfeka maplastics echingwa zvinova zvinhu zviri kuexposa utano hwavo kuzvirwere. Apa tiri kunzwa kurwadziwa zvizhinji uye tiri kushoropodza city of Harare kuti tsaona yakadai yakanga isingafanirwa kunge ichiitika vari pabasa. Dai vakanga vaine zvikwanisiro zvakakwana dzimweni dzenguva upenyu hwavo ungadai usina kurasika, sezvo zviri kufungidzirwa kuti vashandi ava vakafa nekufema gasi zvoreva kuti vakanga vasina zvinhu zvaivadzivirira pamhuno dzavo kuti vakange vasakwanise kufema mweya unokachidza uyu. Tiri kurwadziwa zvizhinji uye tine urombo kuvagari veGlenview kucommunity yeGlenview nekuti vakashayika vagariwo zvakare mumusha wedu weGlenview. Saka tinonzwa kurwadziwa kuti vashandi vekanzuro vasapararire pabasa nenzira yakadai. Kanzuro ngainge ichipa vashandi vayo zvikwanisiro zvinoita kuti vaite basa ravo vakasununguka, nekuti nezuro kune vana vanga vakatotarisa kuti vana baba vaenda kubasa vari kudzoka vakashamisika nekunzirwa shoko rerufu. Zvinova zvinhu zvinorwadza zvizhinji. Tiri kukumbira meya netimu ravo kuti ngavakoshesewo welfare yevashandi vavo vekanzuro. Ivo vanotenga mota dzakanaka nguva nenguva, ngavambotengerewo vashandi vavo zvikwanisiro zvekuitisa basa ravo.
The United Nations says 1.4 million Zimbabwean youths are jobless, with the situation worsening, especially for young people with disabilities. UN Resident Coordinator Edward Callon says the crisis is driven by a lack of access to opportunities as he calls for urgent investment in youth empowerment and drug abuse awareness. Critics say Emmerson Mnangagwa's 2018 promise of 2.2 million jobs has failed as economic decline forces companies to shut down. Cullen warned that excluding youth and people with disabilities could cost Zimbabwe up to 7% of its GDP, urging immediate government action. Bulawayo Mayor David Coltart is calling for a total ban on burning garden waste after a fire in Burnside destroyed a house worth over $500,000. The blaze started during the land clearing and quickly spread. Coltart says current city bylaws are outdated and urged residents to use composting instead. Bulawayo Mayor David Coltart has demanded a total ban on burning the garden refuse and bushes, warning of stiff fines for anyone flouting the bylaw. Change Radio sought legal insight on the bylaw from the prominent lawyer and former Mutare Central Member of Parliament, Honorable Innocent Gonese. Let's hear him speak.
Yes, it's very unfortunate when people lose their property to the negligence and carelessness by other people. My view is that, yes, we've got bylaws, Bulawayo has got bylaws, which deal mainly with prevention of fires and so on. But those do's and don'ts are not helpful when something has already happened. In my opinion is that we must have a tightening of our bylaws to the extent that heavy fines are meted out to anyone who violates the bylaw. But more importantly, when something has happened, the unfortunate part is that one will have to go to the civil court, and when you are going to the civil court, you are going to institute legal proceedings for damages, which on its own is costly, because usually for you to be able to competently do that, you have to engage the services of a legal practitioner who will charge you for the professional work that they are going to do to formulate the claim for damages. My view is that we could have a simpler process where such an occurrence takes place, so that the cause or whoever is responsible for the cause of the fire is visited with both criminal and civil consequences. And I agree with the call for heavy fines to be imposed, but additionally, compensation could be structured in terms of the relevant bylaws, so that automatically you don't necessarily have to do a comprehensive civil claim in the normal course of things, but something which could be inbuilt in the bylaws themselves.
Honorable Gift Ostalo Siziba is in Ghana attending the 5th African Conference on Debt and Development, running from August 27 to the 29th. The conference is themed Africa's Debt Crisis, a Reparations and Reparative Justice Framework Analysis. The summit highlights the continent's $746 billion debt burden. Siziba and other delegates are calling for urgent debt cancellation, arguing that sustainable development and economic sovereignty depend on fair restructuring and reparative justice. Vendors and Traders Association has donated 8 branded waste bins to the City Council to promote recycling and improve waste management. Mayor David Coulthard welcomed the initiative, calling it a positive step towards a cleaner, investment-ready city. Residents of Sizinda have launched a neighborhood watch committee under the theme Building a Safer Community Together. Households will contribute $1 monthly to support community patrols. Police and local leaders say the program will help tackle crime, drug abuse, and protect vulnerable groups. In entertainment news, a 3-day Ndau language orthography validation workshop has just concluded at Chikore High School in Chipinge. Held from 26 to 28 August, the workshop aimed to standardize and promote the Ndau language across education and culture. Organized by the National Language Institute and Midland State University, it brought together educators, authors, and cultural groups like the Ndau Festival of the Arts and Vemuganga Community Radio. In economic news, Air Zimbabwe will operate daily return flights between Harare and Mutare from September 8 to 14 ahead of the Sanganai Hlanganani World Travel Expo taking place in Mutare from the 10th to the 12th. The airline says the flights are part of a pilot project to boost domestic tourism and test demand. If successful, the route may become permanent. Despite official claims that Zim borders and bridge toll fees can be paid using Visa cards, travelers report that Zimra only accepts local bank cards and only when the network is available. Most border posts will prefer cash, often in small denominations. Analysts say this encourages bribery and delays, hurting both travelers and the economy. In international news, in Equatorial Guinea, Balsta Ekong Ngoga has been sentenced to 8 years in prison for embezzling $250,000 and abusing his office. The former official gained in infamy after police discovered explicit videos of him with over 400 women, many linked to high-ranking officials. The scandal, combined with financial misconduct, led to his swift downfall. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged Israel to allow immediate access to food, water, and medicine in Gaza. Speaking in New York yesterday, Guterres warned of a deadly escalation at Israel as Israel prepares for a possible military takeover. He called for the protection of civilians and unrestricted humanitarian aid to the region. In Kenya, the dark legacy of self-proclaimed pastor Paul Mackenzie continues to unfold as 5 more bodies have been discovered near Kilifi, linked to what's now considered the deadliest cut massacre in the country's history. Mackenzie, leader of the Good News International Church, allegedly told his followers to starve themselves and their children to meet Jesus before the end of the world. Authorities have now exhumed 24 bodies in the past 5 days, with 27 suspected mass graves being investigated. Police forensic teams and pathologists remain on site. Mackenzie is in custody and faces charges linked to mass murder and child abuse. And finally, in sports news, Zimbabwe Warriors coach Michael Nice has named the squad for the upcoming FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Benin and Rwanda. Goalkeepers are Washington Arubi, Elvis Chipezeze, and Martin Mapisa. Defenders include Gerald Takarwa, Munashe Garananga, Teenage Hadebe, Brandon Galloway, God Knows Murwira, Emmanuel Jalai, Jordan Zemura, and Divine Lunga. Midfielders named are Marshall Munetsi, Marvelous Nakama, Jonah Fabish, Sean Fusire, Prosper Padera, Tawanda Chirewa, and Knowledge Musona. Strikers include Terence Zukamanja, Bill Antonio, Tawanda Maswanise, Walter Musona, Tino Kadewere, and Tando Ngwenya. To end the news bulletin, here are the headlines once again. Woman kills granddaughter for rituals. 2 Harare City Council workers die on duty. And Zimbabwe youth unemployment hits 1.4 million as the UN calls for urgent action. This concludes our bulletin for today. Thank you for listening. From myself, Olive, and the entire team at Change Radio, have a blessed weekend.